What's going on YouTube? This is my second video, and today we are going to be going over how to install the Android SDK. So before you actually install the SDK, the first thing that you're going to need is to have an installation of the Java SDK on your computer. So head to Google, search for Java Sdk 7. Now this is the version that we are going to be using for my tutorials. It's one of the later versions, and it works really well with the Android SDK. So just Java Sdk 7 in your search box, click on the very first link that shows up, and right now is Java SE 7 update 51. That's probably going to change later depending on when you're seeing this tutorial, but download your JDK and follow your installation instructions depending on which operating system you have. Now, it's pretty easy for Windows. I mean, you just run the exe file and you're pretty much done. Linux was a matter of installing a package. I did the OpenJDK. It was just like a sudo apt-get install thing. So if you're not running Linux, don't worry about it. All these operating systems are supported, so it really doesn't matter. Mac was kind of the oddball in my opinion. It has Java working for the most part. Depending on which version you need, it may not be the most up-to-date one depending on like when you got your Mac. So if you guys are having any problems, just maybe let me know in a comment on the video and I can help you guys get everything installed. If you just like see something, I mean, the first step, obviously you're gonna learn with a lot of things about programming. The first step is to start Googling your problems, and you can easily figure them out. So after you have Java installed and ready to go, I'll make another video if need be. There's plenty of videos on how to install Java, so we'll leave it to everyone else who's done them. You're going to Google Android SDK and click on developer.android.com/SDK, which will take you right to the home page of the Android SDK. And what we are going to be using is called the Adt Bundle for Linux, or Adt Bundle for whatever operating system you have. What this is, it is the Eclipse integrated development environment plus a plugin which will help you easily handle Android stuff, anything that you need to do with Android. Now there's also Android Studio out there, which uses another IDE called IntelliJ. You can try using that if you want, but if you want to follow along with me, I suggest using the Eclipse one because that's what I'm going to be using for these tutorials. It's also, in my opinion, slightly easier to set up. There's less stuff that you have to do. It's probably changed since the last time I tried it, so I might give IntelliJ a shot later, and we'll see about it, but right now I'm going to stick with Eclipse because I know that it works and I know how to get around in it pretty well right now. So click the download link, and I've already done this, so you're going to be given a folder. Let's go to, here's my recordings, awesome. So I'm going to go to my documents because that's where I installed it. So once you download the zip file, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click, and then you're going to extract using whatever OS you have as a way to extract a zip file, I'm sure. So that'll be it's all right there. And then once you're done extracting it, you're going to get the Adt Bundle for Linux folder. And there's the Eclipse and SDK folders. So you're going to be running in Android SDK, but what you really care about is the Eclipse one. So from there you can then click on this little icon that says Eclipse, not the picture of it, but rather the one that actually runs it. And then it'll ask you to select a workspace. This is a folder where you are going to be like setting all your projects up. So I would put it in somewhere like your documents, or you can do it in your desktop if you want. Just somewhere that you remember where you are storing this folder. because it's important. It's going to be really important as we keep moving along. So click OK, and then it'll load Eclipse. Now, I have already created a Java project in my Eclipse, so you might see a different screen right now. Don't freak out. It may say something like launch new Android app, like create a new Android application, or have like little links to tutorials. You can just click that X, and then there is a thing called the Package Explorer, which is a little picture of a package that you should see. You might see it like looking like this. So what I would do is you click right here, Package Explorer. So you can also go to Window, shows you, and then you have most of the views that we're going to be dealing with right here. So Package Explorer would be right there. Okay. So once we have the Package Explorer opened, let's try making a new project. So File, you go to File, New, and I should mention this. In the Android SDK, we're going to have the ability to create new Android application projects or to create new Java projects. So for right now, we're just going to be, in my next video, we're just going to be talking about how to get your head wrapped around a simple Java project. We're going to get to the Android project later, and that's going to be something which is going to be involving the game library that we are going to be using. The game library that we're using is called libgdx, but I'll get to that in a minute. So we can do File, New, Java project, and we can call it hello, test 2, since I already made test 1 trying to film my last video attempt at this. And then we use an execution environment JRE. I have 1.7 specified as my JRE, and we can then just I'm just going to use 1.7 for mine, and then I'm going to click Finish. And what we should get is a folder called test2, which will have a source folder inside of it, and these resources which you're not going to really care about for now. So that is how you go about setting up a new Java project, and as long as this works without any errors, you're almost good to go. A keyword almost. I mean, you could have had an error by now, in which case I will leave a comment or something and I can help you fix it later. But we're going to be worried about these two little icons up here, the Android SDK Manager, which is going to pull up a bunch of different things here. So this may look a little bit confusing at first, but what it's going to do is it's going to install all these updates to your Android SDK. Depending on when you're downloading it and stuff, I don't know what you're going to be seeing at this point in time, sometime in the future. The future me could figure that out. I probably wouldn't be here sitting doing these videos. So anyways, I have 22.3. I'm going to select. What you want to do is you want to select updates. So I have no updates currently because I've already done this, but when you do it, you're going to probably see a couple updates. For these tutorials, we're going to be using version 4.4.2, which is the latest version of the SDK as of the time of writing this tutorial. So we're gonna be using that. I don't think we need any of the Google APIs right now, as we are just getting started. So you can probably get by without this for now. But I would encourage you to select updates, click install packages, wait for this little bar to accept all the licenses that come up, and then wait for the bar to go across, and you'll be good to go. So now the last thing to do would be to click on this Android Virtual Device Manager, and you're going to, right now we'll just do a test AVD. So what this is it is going to be a device which is going to show up on a screen. It's going to be like a little Android phone, which looks like it's going to be a little window which looks like an Android phone. Essentially, this is called an emulator. I'm going to go with all the default things for now. Depending on how much memory you have, you might want to decrease the RAM down a little bit. So if you know, now would be a good time to figure out how much memory your machine has. I personally have 32 gigabytes, so it's a lot, and I don't really have to worry about too much. But if you have like 2 gigabytes, you might not want to be giving 2 gigabytes to your virtual machine, obviously, because you're going to be pretty much running out of memory for your real operating system to run. So I'm going to leave it at whatever the default was for me. It might be different for you. And then I'm going to click OK. Disclaimer, I have no idea if this is going to fail or not. Hopefully it works just fine. Says it works. Let's click start and scale display to real size, which will scale a display to a 4.7-inch monitor. Sure. Click run. It's got a little tiny screen, so that's a tiny 4.7-inch monitor up there. So there goes my little Android thing right there. And if you wait for a while, it always takes a long time the first time you try to do this. This is the first time I'm trying to do it on this machine, so it might take like 10 minutes or so. Bear with me. Jeopardy song. Still going. Alright, I know. Don't worry. Still going. Still going. Still going. And more. And more. It's still going. Alright. During this time, okay, we'll probably talk about how to go about getting your game engine installed while this is still running, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to Google libgdx. So just Google libgdx, and then you're going to click on, I guess, the first thing that shows up again. Pretty simple. Okay, and this is a Java game development framework, right? What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to write games for Java, and it's going to easily allow them to run on our computer, allow them to run on an Android phone, and so on and so forth. So this will allow us to create a game for an Android tablet, as well as for the keyboard and mouse with minimal, without having to write much code at all to make it different, you know? So it's pretty exciting. There's examples of games that people have made if you want to check them out. Ours is going to be pretty simple, yet I still think it's going to be pretty exciting. So when you're at the libgdx website, the place I want you to go to is the download. You're going to download your latest release, and then the next thing you're going to do after you download the latest release is you're going to go to the documentation section. First step of learning how to become a programmer is get used to reading lots and lots and lots of documentation. This cannot be stressed enough, okay? I wish I learned this really early on. Get used to reading lots of documentation and get good at it. So, libgdx has a setup tutorial, which I guarantee you is probably better than what I can do in the 22 minutes and 57 seconds that they do. So it's a little long, but I suggest that you go through and follow it exactly to ensure that we have a working game development environment. Now, once you do that, you're probably things are gonna seem a little foreign to you if this is your first time programming, but bear with us. We're gonna get there the next video. If you don't want to necessarily set up your libgdx stuff right now and you're really new to programming, that's fine. You can probably hold off until we get to it, but come back to this video and figure it out. So I will include this link in the comments, include the link for the Android SDK in the comments, as well as the link for Java in my description below, not the comments, right there below. And that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys have a working development environment set up. Bear with us. This is something that all developers go through when they're first getting started working on any project. It's just like the random things you have to do to set up your tools to make sure that you are ready to go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time where we cover our game idea.